Hey everyone, we are going to read another bedtime story together. This one is called Junie B and some Sneaky Peaky Spying by Barbara Park. I know some of you are watching at lunchtime too. That's really exciting. It's kind of lunchtime here in Thailand right now, so we're sitting outside, me and Freya. All right, let's see. This story, the copyright date is 1994. That means if you are 26 years old or older, you were alive when it was written. Chapter 1, Sneaky Peaky Spying. My name is Junie B. Jones. The B stands for Beatrice, except I don't like Beatrice. I just like B, and that's all. I go to kindergarten. Kindergarten is what comes before first grade, except for I don't know why it's called that silly word of kindergarten. Because it should be called 0 grade, I think. My teacher has the name of Mrs. She has another name too, but I just like Mrs., and that's all. Mrs. has short brown hair and long skirts of wool, and she smiles a real lot, except for sometimes when I'm noisy. She claps her hands loud at me. It used to scare me very much. Only then I got used to it. And now I don't even pay it any attention. I wish Mrs. lived next door to me. Then me and her would be neighbors and bestest friends. And I could spy on her. Spying is when you are very quiet and you look at people through a peeky hole or a crack or something. I'm a really good spyer. That's because I have sneaky feet and my nose doesn't whistle when I breathe. Last Friday morning at Grandpa Miller's house, I hid in the dirty clothes hamper. Then my grandpa came into the bathroom and I lifted up the lid a teeny bit and I peeked my eyes at him. And guess what? Grandpa Miller took his whole teeth right out of his head. That's what. I popped right on out of that hamper. Hey, Grandpa, how did you do that crazy thing? I hollered. And then my grandpa screamed very loud and he ran right out of the bathroom. Grandpa Miller has high blood pressure, I think. Pretty soon, Mother hurried into the bathroom with angry feet. That's it, she yelled. No more spying. This is the last time I'm telling you. Do you hear me, Missy? Do you? Yes, I said, because you're hollering right in my ear. Then Mother took me home, except for she kept on staying mad at me. Find something quiet to do, she said, kind of growly. Your baby brother has to take his morning nap. So then I thought and thought about what to do, and a very great idea popped into my head. First, I took off my loud shoes. Then I tippy-toed into baby Ollie's room in just my sock feet, and I spied on him through the bars in his crib. Because what could be quieter than sneaky peeking spying, of course? Only too bad for me, because that boring old baby just kept on sleeping and sleeping, and he wasn't being fun. So that's how come I accidentally blowed on his face. And I tickled his nose with a ribbon, and I shouted, "Wake up!" in his ear. And guess what? Ollie opened his eyes, that's what. And then he started crying very loud. And Mother ran into the room, only she didn't even see me, because I hid in the closet. Just a quick note, never wake a sleeping baby. I smiled just to myself. I'm the bestest spyer in the whole world, I said inside my head. That's how come when I rode the bus to school that day, I did a little bit of bragging. I'm the bestest spyer in the whole world, I said to my best friend named Grace. Then I took off my shoes and I showed her my sneaky sock feet. See, I said, see how quiet they are? You can hardly even hear those guys. After that, I breathed in and out for her. And see, my nose doesn't whistle either, I said. Fat Grace smiled. I'm good at spying too, she said. I patted her. Yeah, only too bad, Grace. But you can't be as good as me, because I said it first. That Grace did a mad breath at me. It's called Huffy, I think. I heard your nose whistle, Grace, I told her. Just then, the bus got to school, and me and that Grace raced each other to the playground. Except for she beat me, only it didn't count because I wasn't really racing. Then we played horses with my other bestest friend named Lucille. Only pretty soon the bell rang, and we all ran to room 9, speedy quick. Mrs. was at the door waiting for us. "Good afternoon, lady," she said. "Good afternoon, lady," I said back very politely. Then Mrs. smiled at me. That's because she is the nicest teacher I ever saw. And so I wish me and her were bestest friends. And guess what else? I wish I could hide in her hamper. Chapter 2, called Questions. Me and my bestest friend Lucille sit at the same table together. My table is where I sit up straight and I do my work and I don't talk to my neighbor. Except I keep forgetting that part. "I wonder where Mrs. lives," I whispered to Lucille real quiet. "Shh," said Lucille. "We can't talk or else we'll get in trouble. And anyway, you're not allowed to know where she lives because it's a secret." "Says who?" I asked. "Says my brother, that's who, and he's in the 3rd grade. And he says teachers have to keep their house a secret, or else kids might go there and throw rotten tomatoes." I did a huffy at her. "Yeah, only I don't want to throw rotten tomatoes, Lucille," I explained. "I just want to hide in her hamper. That's all." "I don't care," she said. "You're still not allowed because my brother said so, and he knows more than you do. So there." I made an angry face. So there is not a nice word, Lucille," I said. Then I made a fist at her. Except Mrs. saw me, and I had to unfold it real quick. After that, I behaved myself very good. I sat up real straight, and I did all my work. Work is when you use your brain and a pencil. Only sometimes I accidentally use the eraser too hard, and a big hole rubs in my paper. I've done that before. "Hey, I did beautifully today," I called out, "because guess what? No hole, that's what." Mrs. came to my table. She put a gold star on my work. "You did do beautifully, Junie B," she said. "Maybe I'll hang this one on the wall for Grandparents' Day on Monday. Would you like that?" "Oh, yes," I said. "Only I keep on forgetting how come those guys are coming to this place." Then Mrs. explained to me all about Grandparents' Day again. She said our grandparents are coming for a visit, and we get to show them room number 9, and we get to have freshments together. Mrs. said freshments are cookies and a beverage. I raised my hand. "Yeah, only I don't think I'm allowed to have that kind of drink. A beverage? I'm only allowed to have milk and juice, that's all." Mrs. looked at the ceiling with her eyes. I looked up there too, but I didn't see anything. "How many of you think you can bring cookies on Monday?" said Mrs. I can, I hollered, very excited, because my mother is the bestest cookie baker in the whole world, that's why. Except for one time she accidentally forgot they were in the oven, and the fireman had to come to our house. Mrs. laughed, only I don't know why, because that was not a funny story. After that, she gave me a note from Mother. It was some writing about baking cookies, I think. "If your mother has any questions, please tell her to call me," said Mrs. Just then, I got a very great idea. "Hey," I said, "maybe me and Mother can bring the cookies to your house, and then I can see where you live." Mrs. rumpled my hair. "You don't have to come to my house, Junie B. Just bring the cookies to school on Monday morning." I smiled very sweet. "Yeah, only I still want to see where you live," I said. Then Mrs. turned around and she walked back to her desk. That's how come I had to follow her. "Do you have the rich kind of house or the regular kind of house?" I asked her. Because I just have the regular kind of house, except for Mother wants the rich kind. Only Daddy said, "Lots of luck." Mrs. pointed to my chair. That means sit down, I think. "Yeah, only do you have a daddy that lives at your house too? Are there any pictures of him in your wallet? Let's look there, okay?" "Do you have a secret compartment in it? Because my Grandpa Miller has one of those things with $50 in it. Only don't tell Grandma." Mrs. took my hand. Then me and her walked back to my table. "Yeah, only guess what I'm wondering now? Now I'm wondering, when's your bedtime? Because my bedtime is when the little hand is at the 7 and the big hand is at the 6. Only I don't like that bedtime, because I'm not even tired then, of course." Mrs. put her finger up to her lips. "That's enough, Junie B," she said. "I mean it. I need you to settle down right now." Then she went back to the front of the room and she didn't answer any of my questions. Because guess why? Mrs. is a secret mystery person. That's why. All right, guys, we will read chapters 3 and 4 tomorrow. Have a good day or a good night. Miss you.